call came in at 2:17 a.m. Quiet, controlled, almost bored. A voice on the other end describing a hostage situation that didn't exist. A gunman that was never there. A family marked for violence by nothing more than a lie. And in that moment, before sirens and boots and shattered glass, before the irreversible collapse of ordinary lives, the decision had already been made, because someone, somewhere, had chosen to turn a phone call into a weapon, and once released, it could not be called back. Not by regret, not by fear, not by the truth that would surface too late. As it always does, the narrator's voice remains calm, measured, carrying weight without urgency. As the camera drifts through a quiet suburban street, porch lights, glowing sprinklers ticking a flag, stirring slightly in the night air. The kind of neighborhood where nothing ever happens until suddenly everything does. Inside one of those houses sits a man named Daniel Mercer, a warehouse supervisor with tired eyes and an aching knee, finishing a late shift of paperwork at the kitchen table. His wife asleep upstairs, his teenage son half awake in his room with headphones on, unaware that his address has just been entered into a system designed for emergencies, unaware that his home has been transformed into a target by a voice that will never be seen, never be held accountable in the way victims hope for, because the crime of swatting is invisible until it explodes into reality. Dispatch logs showed the caller reported shots fired, a domestic argument escalating, threats to kill, specific details spoken with practiced confidence, the kind that triggers protocol, the kind that leaves no room for hesitation. And across the city, officers respond the only way they can, with speed, with force, with the assumption that lives are at risk. Danielle hears the first siren as a distant wail, barely registering. Then another, closer. Then the dull thud of something heavy against the front door, a command shouted through a megaphone, distorted, urgent, unfamiliar. His hands freezing mid-motion, pen rolling off the table, heart tightening as confusion floods his face. Because there is no argument, no gun, no threat, only the sudden realization that he is being treated as the most dangerous man on the block, and he doesn't know why. Outside, red and blue lights paint the house in violent color, rifles raised, officers taking positions behind cars, shadows stretching across the lawn, neighbors peeking through curtains, phones already out, recording, because chaos attracts witnesses, and witnesses rarely understand what they're seeing. Daniel steps toward the door, instinctively wanting to explain, to ask, to slow things down. But instinct is not protocol, and protocol has no patience for innocence when a lie has been crafted carefully enough. A voice booms again, ordering him to step outside, hands visible, no sudden movements, and as he opens the door, the cold air hits his face, carrying the smell of wet asphalt and adrenaline. His mind racing through every possible mistake he could have made, every unpaid bill, every argument at work, none of them explaining why his life is now balanced on a trigger. He complies, slowly, hands trembling, fingers spread wide, his breath shallow, his thoughts fragmented, aware that one wrong movement could be interpreted as intent, that the margin for error has disappeared. His wife appears at the top of the stairs, confused, frightened, her name shouted by officers who don't know her, who only know the script they've been given by a stranger with a phone. And as she steps into view, a rifle shifts, a safety clicks off, and time seems to slow, the narrator noting the way fear compresses seconds into eternity. Daniel is ordered to kneel, then to lie flat, gravel biting into his skin. The humiliation, sharp and immediate, neighbors watching, whispers spreading, a reputation dismantled in real time by an accusation that will never be fully erased. Upstairs, his son freezes, heart pounding, headphones sliding off as he hears shouting, his phone buzzing with messages from friends who have already seen police outside his house, already speculating, because the internet moves faster than truth. Minutes stretch into an hour as officers clear the house, room by room, finding nothing, weapons absent, threats non-existent. The realization, dawning slowly, painfully, that this was a false call, a hoax, designed to provoke exactly this response. And yet, even as the tension deflates, the damage remains etched into memory, into public record, into the quiet understanding that safety is fragile when systems built to protect can be turned against the innocent. Daniel is released, apologies offered quietly, professionally, but apologies do not rewind time. They do not unsee their rifles, They do not erase the image of him face down on his own lawn, and as officers pack up and leave the street returns to silence, a heavier silence now weighted with questions that will never be answered fully. The narrator shifts focus, pulling back from the scene to trace the origin of the call, the digital breadcrumb trail left by it. Someone who believed distance equaled immunity. Someone who treated emergency services like a toy, like a game, like a way to punish without consequence. The caller, later identified as using the alias Ruak, sits in a dimly lit apartment miles away, headphones on, a faint smile lingering as he watches a live stream of the police response. Chat messages scrolling rapidly. Encouragement and laughter mixing with disbelief. The thrill of control, palpable. His fingers tapping absently on the desk near a keyboard worn smooth by hours of online conflict. He's not a mastermind, not a criminal genius, just a man who learned that with the right words, spoken calmly, he could summon violence to someone else's door, and that knowledge changed him. Boundaries blurred morality until the line between prank and crime vanished entirely. Investigators later reconstruct his path, a series of online arguments escalating over months. Petty grievances magnified by anonymity, grudges nurtured in forums where empathy is weakness and escalation is currency. The narrator describes the psychology with restraint, noting how power feels intoxicating to those who feel powerless, how the ability to command armed response with nothing but a voice can distort judgment, feeding a belief that consequences are for others. As days pass, Daniel struggles to return to normal sleep, fractured by dreams of flashing lights, his wife jumping at unexpected noises, his son withdrawing, embarrassed, angry, hyper-aware of his family's sudden notoriety. Teachers asking questions they don't know how to phrase, classmates whispering because even cleared innocence carries residue. The investigation intensifies, cyber units tracing. IP addresses, subpoenas issued, warrants, served the slow grind of accountability beginning and when. Rook is finally confronted. The scene is stark, fluorescent lit, an interrogation room where bravado evaporates under sustained eye contact and silence. He sits, slouched arms crossed defensively, eyes darting, insisting it was a joke that no one got hurt, his voice cracking when detectives list the risks, the protocols, the ways things could have gone wrong, the statistics. He never considered the families, destroyed by similar calls that ended with bodies on the pavement. The narrator observes the shift in posture, the swallowed breath, the moment when denial gives way to something like understanding, not quite remorse, but recognition that the game was never just a game. Court proceedings follow, sterile and procedural, yet heavy with consequence. Victim impact statements read aloud, Daniel's voice steady but strained as he describes the loss of trust, the lingering fear, the ways addressed. Now feels cursed, a place where Dania arrived uninvited. Rook listens, head bowed, the weight of his actions pressing down as the abstract becomes personal, as a human face replaces the concept of target. Sentencing is handed down, numbers spoken that represent years, restrictions, a future narrowed by a decision made in seconds. And as the gavel falls, the narrator emphasizes the moral center of the story, the way technology amplifies intent, the way cruelty can be outsourced, the way responsibility cannot. The final scenes return to the neighborhood. Months later, leaves changing color, life attempting to resume its rhythm. Daniel fixing a loose step on the porch, pausing as a police car drives by, his body tensing reflexively, Tin relaxing, a reminder that trauma doesn't announce itself. It lingers quietly, reshaping reactions long after headlines fade. The voiceover closes with reflection, calm and heavy, noting that swatting is not a prank, not a victimless act, but a calculated misuse of trust, a reminder that systems rely on honesty to function. And when honesty is weaponized, everyone is at risk, because the distance between a lie and a life is shorter than we like to believe. Sometimes, one wrong choice can destroy a lifetime. Learn from their story, choose kindness, choose life. This was just the beginning. The most mysterious and shocking crime stories are still ahead. Subscribe to Crime Flow Narratives and be among the first to uncover what comes next.